Medusa, the snake-haired Gorgon, is a well-known figure in Greek mythology. She is often depicted as a terrifying monster with the power to turn anyone who gazes upon her into stone. But how did she become this way? According to Greek mythology, in her younger years, Medusa resembled that of a human being. However, she was in fact one of the three Gorgon sisters, the daughters of Perseus and Ceto, two sea gods. The Gorgons were known for their monstrous appearance, with snakes for hair and the power to turn anyone who looked at them to stone. Medusa was said to be the most beautiful of the three sisters, with striking features and a stunningly attractive appearance, and long flowing human-like hair. Her beauty caught the attention of many, including the god of the sea, Poseidon, who was known for his lustful ways. As the story goes, Poseidon was struck by Medusa's beauty and became obsessed with her. He pursued her relentlessly, showering her with gifts and attention in an effort to win her over. Despite Poseidon's advances, Medusa remained devoted to Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. Athena was a virgin goddess who embodied purity and strength, and her temple was considered a sacred space where women could gather and worship in safety. Medusa was one of Athena's priestesses, and she had taken a vow of chastity and service to the goddess. One day, Poseidon forced himself upon Medusa in Athena's temple, desecrating the sacred space and betraying Medusa's trust. In some versions of the story, Athena punished Medusa for the desecration of her temple by transforming her into a Gorgon. In others, Athena was angered by Medusa's beauty and jealous of the attention she was receiving from the other gods, so she cursed her to a life of isolation and terror. Athena transformed Medusa's hair into a writhing mass of snakes and cursed her with the power to turn anyone who looked at her into stone. Medusa was banished to an island in the middle of the sea, where she lived in solitude and terrorized anyone who came near. Her reputation as a fearsome and deadly creature spread far and wide. Many brave warriors and heroes attempted to kill her, hoping to win fame and glory by defeating such a powerful opponent. However, none of them were successful, as Medusa's power to turn anyone who looked at her to stone was too great to overcome. Medusa's curse was a terrible fate, and it was not one that she asked for. She was an innocent victim of Poseidon's lust and Athena's wrath. Medusa's story takes an interesting turn when Perseus, the son of Zeus and Danae, is tasked with killing her. King Polydectes, the ruler of the island where Perseus grew up, had demanded that Perseus bring him the head of Medusa as a gift. Despite the task ahead of him, Perseus was undaunted, as he had been given a number of powerful tools by Athena and Hermes to aid him in his quest. Among these tools were a pair of winged sandals, a magical helmet that made him invisible, and a shield that had been polished to a mirror-like sheen. With these tools in hand, Perseus set out to find Medusa's lair, deep in a dark and forbidding cave. When he finally found Medusa, she was asleep, surrounded by her sisters. Using his reflective shield to avoid looking directly at Medusa, Perseus crept up on her and cut off her head with the magical sword given to him by the god Hermes. As he made his escape, Perseus was pursued by the angry Gorgons, but he was able to use his winged sandals to fly away from them. He eventually made it back to King Polydectes, where he presented the head of Medusa as a gift. According to Greek mythology, when Perseus beheaded Medusa, her blood spilled onto the ground and gave rise to two powerful creatures, Pegasus, the winged horse, and Crisaya, a giant wielding a golden sword. Pegasus is perhaps the more well-known of the two creatures. Pegasus was born fully grown, and with a swift kick of his hooves, he sprang into the sky and soared away. He soon became known as the Horse of the Muses, and was said to have helped poets and musicians create their works by inspiring them with his divine presence. He was also said to have helped heroes on their quests, and he was a beloved symbol of freedom and the power of the imagination. Crisaya, on the other hand, is a lesser-known figure in Greek mythology. He was said to have been born from Medusa's blood as well, and he was depicted as a giant with a golden sword. In some versions of the myth, Crisaya was said to be the father of the warrior goddess Echidna, who was a fierce and deadly creature in her own right. Together, Pegasus and Crisaya are a powerful symbol of the transformative power of myth and legend. They are a reminder that even in the darkest and most difficult times, there is always the potential for beauty and wonder to emerge from the chaos. Perseus' victory over Medusa was a heroic one, and it cemented his status as a legendary hero in Greek mythology. However, it is worth considering Medusa's perspective in this story. She was a victim of a terrible curse, and she had been living in isolation and terror for years. Perseus killed her without ever really knowing her, and he took her head as a prize. Oftentimes people view Medusa as a monster, but it is worth considering the possibility that she was simply a victim of circumstance. She was cursed for something that was not her fault, and she was forced to live a life of terror and solitude. When Perseus killed her, he was simply ending her suffering, but he was also robbing her of any chance at redemption or forgiveness. In this version of the myth, we can see that Medusa was not always a monster. The myth suggests that she was a priestess of Athena who was cursed by the goddess after she slept with Poseidon in one of Athena's temples. Other stories suggest that Medusa was a beautiful young woman who was transformed into a monster by a jealous rival. Regardless of the specific details of her story, it is clear that Medusa's fate was a tragic one. She was a victim of powerful gods and their rivalries, and she was ultimately destroyed by a hero who saw her only as a monster to be defeated. Medusa's story is also a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and jealousy. Athena was jealous of Medusa's beauty, and she used her power to curse her and transform her into a monster. Poseidon was powerful enough to ravish Medusa in Athena's temple without any consequences, and his actions ultimately led to her curse. Perseus was a hero who was willing to do anything to win the favor of the king, including killing an innocent woman. All of these characters were driven by their own desires and their own sense of entitlement, and they were willing to use their power to achieve their goals. Medusa was transformed from a beautiful young woman into a terrifying monster, but her death ultimately led to the creation of two powerful and magical creatures. Her curse was a terrible fate, but it also gave her a kind of power that she never would have had otherwise. In this interpretation, Medusa's story is a reminder that even the most tragic of fates can lead to unexpected and powerful transformations. There are many different interpretations of Medusa's story, and they all offer different insights into the character and her fate. Some see her as a tragic victim of the gods, while others see her as a powerful figure who was destroyed by her own power. Some see her as a cautionary tale, while others see her as a symbol of transformation and redemption. What is clear is that Medusa's story continues to resonate with people today, and it offers a powerful reminder of the complex and often contradictory nature of human experience. Thank you for watching Conceptual Learning's Medusa, the myth of the snake-haired Gorgon. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more.